Hello everyone, welcome to KGTL 1.3. For today's lesson, we're going to discuss basic Korean phonology. Here's the table of contents. Coda rules consist of two rules: pronunciation rules and simplification rules. The generalization is that in terms of coda, sonorants contrast with obstruents. As to the clarification, please check the advanced section of KGTL 1211. Also, in the previous lesson, we've seen that occlusive obstruents in the coda are realized as unreleased plosives. Pronunciation rule can be classified into two groups: many-to-one group and one-to-one group. The subgroups of many-to-one group are realized as one of the plain plosives. As you can see, the members of this group are all obstruents, and each obstruent in the coda is replaced by unreleased 비읍, 디귿, or 기역, according to its place of manner. Note that all obstruents other than bilabial and velar plosives align with 디귿. On the other hand, the members of one-on-one group are sonorant consonants. As the group name suggests, the members exhibit one-to-one mapping with the realized phones. Remind that the left angle symbol indicates unreleased sound. Also, note that tense consonants other than the velar plosive never appear in the coda in Korean words. So I suggest you to think about how we can capture a generalization over these groups. This will be discussed in the advanced section. Now let's check out some examples. In the 비읍 group, bilabial consonants in the coda are pronounced as an unreleased voiceless bilabial plosive, as in the English word up. For instance, the Korean words 밥 meaning meal or cooked rice and 앞 meaning front share the same coda sound 비읍. In the 디귿 group, all obstruents other than bilabials and velars are realized as the same phone in the coda, namely an unreleased voiceless alveolar plosive, as in the English word eight. For example, 곧다 meaning straight, 밭 meaning field, 곶감 meaning dried persimmon, 밭 meaning anchor, 옷 meaning clothes, 갔다 meaning went, and 히읗 meaning the Korean alphabet H share the same coda sound 디귿. In the 기역 group, all velar plosives in the coda are realized as an unreleased voiceless velar plosive, as in the English word back. For example, 각 meaning angle, 부엌 meaning kitchen, and 밖 meaning outside share the same coda sound 기역. The coda consonants in the one-to-one group exhibit straight one-to-one relations. As the following examples demonstrate, the Korean words 봄 meaning spring, 안 meaning liver, 영 meaning zero, and 일 meaning work exhibit straight one-to-one pronunciations as to the coda sound. When a coda consists of two consonants, such two consonants are called 겹받침 or consonant cluster. Most of the time, one part of the cluster gets dropped in pronunciation. In some cases, one of them becomes significantly weaker in the pronunciation. In parallel with pronunciation rules, there are two types of simplification rules. The type 1 with fixed pronunciation and type 2 with contingent pronunciation. Type 1 group consists of plosives, nasals, and the lateral. The plosives can be subclassified into consonant clusters, 비읍, 시옷, 리을, 피읍, and 기역, 시옷. The nasals can be subclassified into consonant clusters, 리을, 미음, 니은, 히읗, and 니은, 지읒. Likewise, the lateral concerns consonant clusters, 리을, 히읗, and 리을, 시옷. The following chart indicates type 1 coda clusters and the corresponding simplified phonemes. Unless these cluster phonemes undergo resyllabification, which will be discussed in the following chapter, they are always simplified as the related plain consonants. Note that after the coda consonant cluster gets simplified, it is further subject to a coda pronunciation rule. Also, do not forget that we are dealing with phonemes, not phones here. If you cannot understand what this means, I suggest you to review KGTL 112. So given with this data, can you guess the rule behind the consonant clusters and simplified phonemes? This will be discussed in the advanced section. Now let's look over some examples with Korean words. The 비읍 group can be found in Korean words like 값, meaning price, and 읊다, a verb meaning to recite. The 기역 group can be found in Korean words such as 넋, meaning mind or soul, and 목, meaning share or proportion, etc. The 비읍 group can be found in Korean words such as 삶, meaning life, and 닮다, a verb meaning to resemble, etc. The 니은 group can be found in Korean words such as 많다, a verb meaning many or much, and 앉다, a verb meaning to sit, etc. Lastly, the 리을 group can be found in Korean words such as 끓다, a verb meaning to boil, and 옳다, a verb meaning right, correct, etc. If you are a keen learner, you might notice that it is quite unusual to describe adnominals, including an adjective as verb. This alludes to the distinctive syntax of Korean, and this topic will be discussed in KGTL Chapter 4. Next, we have Simplification Rule Type 2, Contingent Pronunciation. Type 2 Simplification Rule concerns only two consonant clusters, namely 리을 비읍 and 리을 기역. Most of the time, the cluster 리을 비읍 is simplified to 리을 and sometimes to 비읍. On the other hand, the cluster 리을 기역 is mainly simplified to 기역 or 리을 in some cases. So here are the examples. In the cases like 넓다 meaning wide and 얇다 meaning thin, etc., the Coda consonant clusters are simplified to 리을. On the other hand, in words like 넓적하다 meaning wide and flat, or 넓둥글하다 meaning wide and round, etc., the Coda consonant clusters are simplified to 비읍. The pattern regarding the Coda consonant clusters will be discussed in the advanced section. As to the consonant cluster 리을 기역, this phoneme is mostly simplified to 기역, such as in Korean words 흙, meaning soil, and 막다, a verb meaning clear, etc. By contrast, the same consonant cluster is sometimes simplified to 리을, such as in Korean words 맑게, meaning clearly, and 밝기, meaning brightness, etc. Again, the rule behind this pattern will be discussed in the advanced section. Note that even though the rules apply to most cases, there is an exception to this rule when it comes to actual speech sounds. This will be discussed in the advanced section. Resyllabification is a phonological phenomenon in which the coda phoneme of the preceding syllable takes the empty onset position of the following syllable. This formal representation covers all possible cases of resyllabification in Korean. To be specific, resyllabification transpires when the first syllable consists of an optional onset, nucleus, and saturated coda, and the second syllable consists of a nucleus and optional coda. However, there are several exceptions to this generalization, and this will be discussed in the advanced section. So, as to an English example of resyllabification, let's consider the following sentence: "The dog is cute once again." When considering the word dog in isolation, the coda is unreleased unless emphasizing it to clarify the spelling, like dog. However, when the coda G is followed by a vowel sound in a colloquial speech, such as in dog is, it undergoes resyllabification and moves into the empty onset position of the following syllable. As a result, the voiced velar plosive becomes fully released in the onset at the surface. Now let's examine a few simple examples in Korean. 이것은 물이다 means this is water in Korean. As a side note, the analysis under Yale romanization transcription is called interlinear gloss. It provides a transcription of the target language in linguistics terms in between the target language and its translation. Note that the coda consonant in the word 이것, meaning this, underwent resyllabification. Otherwise, the coda should have been realized as an unreleased 디귿, observing the coda pronunciation rule. Similarly, the coda of the word 물, meaning water, underwent resyllabification here. It is realized as a voiced alveolar flap rather than the lateral. As to the pronunciation of real, please review KGTL 11213. Also, there is an exception to resyllabification, and this will be discussed in the advanced section. So if we analyze the example in the format of tree diagram, we can see that the coda phoneme of the second syllable undergoes resyllabification, occupying the empty onset and being realized as a voiceless alveolar fricative. This contrasts with the phoneme 시옷 being realized as an unreleased voiceless alveolar plosive from 디귿 in the coda due to the coda pronunciation rule. Note that the resyllabification rule fits into the coda rules. In other words, the application of resyllabification rule precedes the coda rules. This shows that the phonological rules in Korean take place in a particular order, not arbitrarily. This fact indicates that there is an algorithm for phonological rules in Korean, and this will be explained in the advanced section. Subject to the same principle, the coda in the fourth syllable undergoes resyllabification, occupying the empty onset position of the following syllable. Don't forget that resyllabification concerns phonemes, not phones. The phoneme real is realized as a voiced alveolar lateral when placed in the coda, but as a voiced alveolar flap when placed in the onset. There are 6 phonological rules other than the 2 coda rules and the resyllabification rule. Just like the previous rules, 6 phonological rules concern the alteration of consonant phonemes. As a side note, please keep in mind that the notation for phonological rules that will be used here is not utterly conventional due to our pedagogical convenience. So if you are interested in phonology, please refer to other sources too. The addition rule concerns the consonant ni은. The rule can be formally written as the following. It is interpreted as follows. Niun is added directly before the closed front unrounded vowel E or J diphthongs when the empty onset is preceded by a consonant across the morpheme boundary. In the advanced section, we'll discuss two different types of an addition in detail, as well as the non-phonological constraints of an addition. So here's a simple example illustrating an addition rule in action. The Korean word meaning midsummer is pronounced as 한여름, with niun added into the second syllable's onset, not 한여름. The prefix 한 means mid, and the noun 여름 means summer. Since the target segment satisfies the phonological environment, namely being preceded by a consonant niun and followed by a J diphthong 여, the an addition rule has transpired. There's a complex case to this rule, such as when it involves possessive s called 사이시옷 in Korean. This will be discussed in the advanced section. The aspiration rule targets only occlusive obstruents. Please remind that Korean doesn't have aspirated consonants other than the occlusive obstruents. So here's the formal representation of aspiration rule in Korean. The rule states that hyut and a plain occlusive obstruent are merged into the occlusive obstruents aspirated pair in the onset when they meet across the morpheme boundary. More specifically, the change can be described as follows. Note that the star symbol used here is a non-conventional notation to indicate coalescence. The case where hyut directly follows plain occlusive plosives can be found in the following examples. In the Sino-Korean word 법학, meaning jurisprudence or the study of law, the bub in the coda and the hyut on the onset trigger aspiration and become merged into the onset as its aspirated pair, hyub. Also in the next Sino-Korean word 백화점, meaning department store, the 기역 in the coda and the hyut in the onset trigger aspiration and become merged as its aspirated pair, 기역. Next examples are when hyut directly precedes occlusive obstruent. In the Korean word 좋다, meaning good, hyut in the coda and the digut in the onset are subject to aspiration and get merged into the onset as its aspirated pair, 티귿. Likewise, in the imperative sentence 놓지 마세요, meaning do not let go of something, hyut and 지읒 are merged into its aspirated pair, 치읒. There are two types of assimilation rules in Korean, namely nasal and lateral assimilation. The two assimilations differ in terms of target consonant, in that nasal assimilation concerns all the obstruents, whereas lateral assimilation concerns only neon. Note that in both cases, the place of manner is always retained. Here's the nasal assimilation rule. The alpha symbol preceding a feature indicates that the target and resulting segment share the same value, regardless of what the value is. Note that there is a constraint on this rule that cluster consonants are excluded as a target segment. The rule states that a non-clustered obstruent becomes a nasal with the identical place of manner when followed by a nasal across the morpheme boundary. As a side note, the feature delayed release distinguishes between plosives and affricates among occlusive obstruents. Plosives are minus delayed release, whereas affricates are plus delayed release. Keep in mind that the place of articulation has not changed. The target plosives share the same place of manner with the output nasals. Also, note that obstruents other than these never appear in the coda. Here's a list of compound nouns involving nasal assimilation. The pi읍 in the coda becomes 미음, as in 앞마당, meaning front yard. The 시옷 in the coda becomes 니은, as in 빗물, meaning rainwater. The 기역 in the coda becomes 이응, as in 국물, meaning soup. Now a slightly more complex example with derivational words with root plus suffix morphology. In the Korean noun phrase 먹는 법, meaning how to eat, the 기역 in the coda undergoes nasal assimilation into 이응. Besides, the case of consonant clusters concerns a sophisticated mechanism, so it will be discussed in the advanced section. The lateral assimilation rule is written as follows. This means 니은 becomes 리을 when directly preceded or followed by 리을. Note that, as with the nasal assimilation, the place of articulation remains the same before and after the lateral assimilation. In other words, 니은 and 리을 are both alveolars. Here are some examples. When a coda 니은 is the target, such as in 난로, meaning hot stove, the target 니은 gets replaced with 리을. In the same way, when an onset 니은 is the target, such as in the Korean word 칼날, meaning blade, the preceding coda 리을 triggers lateral assimilation, and this results in the replacement of the target 니은 with 리을. Note that there is an exception to this rule related to a non-phonological condition. Also, lateral assimilation involving consonant clusters including rear should be mentioned. These will be also discussed in the advanced section. The deletion rule concerns heat. The rule is quite simple. Heat is deleted in between sonorants. An interesting property of this rule is that it requires a pragmatic condition that the rule is applied only under casual and connected speech. Moreover, remind that sonorants include both consonants and vowels. The rule here is written in a rough manner. A refined version of H deletion rule will be discussed in the advanced section. Here is a few examples illustrating the H deletion. The verb meaning to like something is pronounced as 좋아하다, not 좋아하다. This indicates that the heat in the coda gets deleted because it is in between sonorants, namely the close mid-back rounded vowel O and near open central unrounded vowel A. Likewise, the following Sino-Korean word meaning phone number is pronounced as 전화번호, not 전화번호. Note that if the syllables are spelled out one by one precisely, that the deletion doesn't take place. So the resulting pronunciation will be 전화번호, not 전화번호. Note that there is an ambiguous case regarding H deletion, and this will be discussed in the advanced section. The tensification rule concerns all obstruents other than heat. Note that the tensification rule has the most complex condition among other phonological rules. First, there are 4 distinct conditions that prompt tensification. Second, some of the conditions are non-phonological. The most simple and common condition is stated in the following rule. This means plain obstruents other than heat undergo tensification when directly preceded by an obstruent across the morpheme boundary. Note that the feature supralaryngeal, abbreviated as supra, ensures that the target segment is articulated above the larynx. This in turn indicates that only heat has minus supra value among Korean consonants. Here are examples of pure Korean and Sino-Korean noun compounds that undergo tensification. Each onset consonant in the second syllable becomes plus tense when satisfying the tensification rule, as in 국밥, meaning rice soup, 돌담, meaning stone wall, 습작, meaning draft or study, 작곡, meaning music composition, and 엽서, meaning postcard. Likewise, the same tensification can be found in the combination of a verb and suffix. The deverbal noun pat기 means grinding, and the deverbal adverb 곧게 means straight. As a side note, these are derivational words whose part of speech is altered by derivational suffix, namely nominalizer 기 and adverbializer 게. As mentioned earlier, there are 3 more phonological and non-phonological conditions that trigger tensification within particular contexts. Since this topic is quite complex, it will be discussed in the advanced section. Finally, palatalization concerns alveolar plosives only. Remind that the tense pair, namely double digit, never appear in the coda. Here's the semi-formal representation of palatalization rule in Korean. This indicates that alveolar plosives become corresponding alveolar palatal affricates when directly followed by close front unrounded vowel E or J diphthongs across the morpheme boundary. Here are examples of palatalization occurring with nominal particle and causative verb suffix. The Korean noun got meaning surface with a nominative particle E is read as 겉이. And the verb, which is a causative form of the verb 붙다, meaning stick to, is pronounced as 붙이다. Likewise, the noun 해 meaning sun, the verb 돋다 meaning to rise, and the nominalizer suffix e together form a deverbal noun meaning sunrise, which is pronounced as 해돋이. In the same manner, each of the following Korean adverbs meaning insistently and together is formed by combining the verb roots with the adverbializer suffix e, resulting in the pronunciations 굳이 and 같이, respectively. If you need a detailed analysis of the surface derivation, then please check out the advanced section. Now here's the summary of today's lesson. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.